fan might have been surprised, but Bayern Munich fans weren't. And it is similar to when they got knocked out of the semi-finals by Real Madrid a couple of years ago with Tuchel, when he took the lead from Alphonso Davies, long shot, banging goal, and then I think the 75th minute onwards, he decided to part the bus, take off his attackers, and you can't do that against Messi. That's what you can't do. If they didn't have Messi, we would have probably got the job done. But and then you take off. We parked the bus, and someone said it on Twitter actually. The driver of the bus is Declan Rice, and you take the driver off, and we can see 2 goals.
Bus crashes.
Yeah, bus crash, man.
It's annoying, man, because I feel the first 60 minutes, it was good. Obviously, we got the goal. We was mucking in. I don't feel the game was necessarily entertaining, much like most games in it, but football summed up by moments. As you alluded to there, you've taken off Rice, you've taken off James, you've gone back 5, you showed your hand early. Obviously, we're not privy to everything in it, but I do think football is about moments and it's about psychological stuff. At some point, Argentina had to look around and say, you know what, England are scared, they're giving the ball away. There's no outlets. There's no winger driving with it. As you mentioned with Rice, there's no one that can either make those tackles or hold on to the ball and all of that kind of stuff. And then you look at it, football's decided in both ends. We didn't really create anything. Kane was not up front where both of their centre-halves are on a yellow. Obviously, yes, on the face of it, Enzo, great goal. But just before he put that ball in the back of the net, there was an effort where Pickford tipped it out. We've not got close to him. There was a couple of headers that went unpunished from our perspective. Obviously, we've lost our men for Lautaro Martinez's goal. So I don't feel I'll just blame Tuchel, but I do think his tactics, it played a massive part. In fact, I think it did tip the balance. And my thing is there's a way to lose, because there's a reality where we keep everything the same way. We lose 2-1, everyone's still on Tuchel. And I just feel we went out on a whimper. I'm a big fan of having absolutely no regrets. But I think there'll be plenty of regrets with Tuchel and these players. Like a lot of these guys are not guaranteed to play for England again at a Euros, let alone a World Cup. It sucks because, in our lifetime now, the golden generation didn't do anything. We've I won't say we've flirted with success, but we've kind of flirted with it. Like, you've got to 2 Euro finals, you got to a quarters of a World Cup, now you've got to a semis. And again, on the topic of no regrets, you're 90 minutes away from a World Cup final. There's no shame in losing to Lionel Messi and all of the talented players that they have in addition to him, but it's how you do it. You made it easier for yourselves, and you curled up into a ball. So ultimately, that's exactly what's happened. I do feel in terms of Arsenal, Rice, barely fit, gave a good account of himself. It was really a non-story. Saka obviously got 3 assists. I think when the tournament began, for all the criticism of Noni looked good. Obviously, when it got to the serious end, you could see very quickly it's time not to play him. So that's the World Cup. The next thing I want to ask you is, obviously, I saw you at the parade, didn't it? And it's the first time you're on the platform again. So I know it was a few months ago, but let's go back to Arsenal obviously being champions. What did it feel like? Take us back to how you felt when it was announced that we're champions, man. 22 years, many an L. We kind of created content at the same time, not just us, but all us Arsenal content creators. And them times there was in the trenches. It's got a bit better now, and now we've got to the pinnacle.
Yeah, can't really complain, man. It was amazing. Even we went to the Champions League final at the Emirates, and the day after, I'm like, okay, wait, like maybe it's gonna affect the fans. It didn't. You wouldn't even realize that we lost the final the day before. I think it's more the rival fans that kept mentioning it, saying, "Oh, you lost the final," but we didn't really care, and it was surreal. I think if I could pick one of the days to relive, it wouldn't be the parade. It'd probably be like when we clinched the title. When City lost against or drew against Bournemouth, whoever it was, that day, because it was just like, we're going to the Emirates, and I got there late. I got there
immediately.
Exactly. I got there at like 1 a.m. and it was still active. And it's like,
why'd you get there so late?
Because obviously I wanted to do some content when I came home. I went to the Big Six studio to just turn up there, surprise them, came back home, did content, I went straight there. And that was amazing. I think the parade itself was nice, but I had done it twice already, because you had almost 2 parades prior, the 2 pre-parades. But I definitely think that Tuesday night was something special. And yeah, it felt surreal because I've waited so long. And it was when I watched it on the TV and you saw the graphics as Arsenal were champions. And then it cut to the Arsenal players celebrating. Yeah, it took a minute to settle in. I don't think it settled in until after the Crystal Palace trophy lift. That's when it really settled in, seeing them with the trophies. That was like, okay, like now we're champions. And it feels nice. It feels really exciting because now we go into a season where, like, as content creators, you'll know about this. You always get asked, okay, if Arteta doesn't win, does he get sacked? And for this summer, we haven't been asked that question a single time. I mean, people still run the agenda of like, oh, if he hadn't have won. But what did Kanye say? I guess we'll never know.
Facts. And that's another thing, yeah. Like, obviously, you ain't got a crystal ball. We'll get into transfers in a minute, yeah. But obviously, we know about Arsenal, innit? Like, and even rivals, you know what we're good at. You know the areas of improvements. Obviously, we've won the league. We know how Arteta likes to do things. We know the players, etc. So there's a degree of what we know. When I look at Man United, I don't know what long term they look like with Carrick in a full season. I don't know what City looks like with Maresca losing a generational Pep Guardiola. I don't know what Xabi Alonso means for Chelsea. I don't know what Areola means for Liverpool. Obviously, I don't think Spurs are in the conversation for a Premier League. I do rate De Zerbi, but I don't know what they look like. So it's like, one, are we the favourites? And two, how do you look at the rivals?
We are the favourites. We are the favourites by a country mile.
I want this.
It's as clear as day. I don't even have to argue against that because they've changed their managers. That's the key thing to focus on. We don't have to fight against Pep. And I'm not disrespecting Maresca or disrespecting Areola. I just don't know what you're going to do in a title race because I ain't seen it from you. Right now, the only manager in the league that has won a Premier League title, if I'm right in saying, is Mikel Arteta. And that feels nice. It feels different to go into a season. And obviously, I'm going to hear it when they announce Arsenal as the champions at the start of the season and the commentators keep saying it like that. But it's not just the fact that we're favourites because of Arteta. It's because the players now have that experience as well. They know how to win a title race. And the only team that has the calibre of players to compete with us is Man City. Because we saw it last year when they got the act together, when, Cherky turned up and Haaland is Haaland. They ran as close for sure. But I think Pep played a massive part behind that as well. Maresca is going to be a good shout for them, but we'll see. I don't think a lot of City fans are really convinced about Maresca just yet. They probably wanted a more high-profile name after Pep Guardiola. But Mikel Arteta right now is the high-profile name. When we talk about who's the best manager in the league right now, you're going to have to say Mikel Arteta. Thank God we're out of the Unai Emery debates. That league title really saved us. So, yeah, I think we're favourites, man. And look, I know a lot of Arsenal fans, or a few Arsenal fans right now, a bit concerned about our transfer policy and the fact that we ain't signed any players. I know Solis is that was kind of confirmed today. But I do believe that we're going to sign at least a marquee attacker, Rodgers or Barcola. We're going to sign one of those. And a midfielder as well. And then after that, centre-back or an Alvarez. We've got enough to win a title there. And even the squad that was there last year, you take away Trossard now, and you sign another high-profile attacker, we still probably have the best squad in the league, But one thing that I am kind of fascinated to watch is how do we survive without Saka, maybe without Rice and Saliba for the start of the season?
The spine of our side. And I was going to ask you that. I'm happy you jumped into that, because obviously we're going to touch on it, but obviously we've signed, we've reached an agreement around Zolis today. I know it's not a needle mover, it's not a gas name, it's not, as you said, a Morgan Rogers, a Gomares, etc. But there are fans probably didn't learn from last year, in that you were crashing out last year. By the end of it, you was loving everything Andrea Berta done in it. So for me, you're allowed to be nervous. You're allowed to pocket watch and watch the rivals and think, oh, hang on, we're Premier League champions. What are we doing? But I always say, don't judge any club at the start. Judge them at the end. Because at the end, you can't do anything in it. So I understand that. The one thing that if I was to crash out and put my energy around Bhavs is these injuries, bro. Because for the last 2 years, and I'm not blaming Arteta or blaming the players, but our players have been running to the ground in it. This is the dynamics of football. They've been running to the ground for the last 2 years. They've gone into the World Cup. And then obviously you mentioned them, Saliba, Timber. You could indirectly say Benjamin White because he's our first choice right back if Timber isn't there. Gabriel's been through the wounds. We know Saliba's carrying an ankle injury and a back injury that's put him out. Declan Rice is on empty. We're seeing Saka's minutes kind of managed a bit carefully. Odegaard the same. So that would be like the spine of our side. Any team is going to suffer with injuries, much less the spine. And I don't want that to derail our season. So it's like, what is your thinking around that? Because you kind of touched on it, coping without Saliba, potentially Saka. Rice is the big one for me because I think there's many people, Babs, that you could say is our most important player. You could say Raya, you could say Saliba, you could say Gabriel, you could say a fit Saka, whatever have you. At this moment in time, though, I think they've all got cases. But at this moment in time, I'd say Rice because if Rice isn't in that team, I feel nervous, just like West Ham away. But what do you make of that?
I feel like there has been like a turnaround behind the scenes, right? A lot of our medical staff have been kind of sacked. So there's clearly something that Arteta looked at there. And you know what I liked is when I heard the articles after the season, when Arsenal obviously clinched the title, of how Arteta adapted at the final part after the City result and how rather than doubling down on his tactics, he said, look, okay, my players deserve more rest. And he gave them more time off to breathe. And, when you prioritize active recovery, you're going to see those results. And I think that's what Arteta would have learned is like these players, when you give them a chance to breathe, I can trust them now. I don't need to be rigid with them anymore. They ain't the same team of 2021-22. I have to, tell them everything they have to do. They know what they're doing. And I feel like that's going to play a part of this season. And when you take it with the pressure that, look, people say that we don't have to win the league title. I still think we do. Why not capitalize? Why not capitalize in the sense that we have the best team? Exactly. It's not just one title and out. We're not trying to be what Liverpool did. And we don't have to fight against Pep either. So I think in terms of the injuries, I'm looking towards Arteta to trust the squad players a little bit more as well. And he did it in parts last season, but I think it was by force. So if like a left back injured, then Nkapia might start. Or, Mascara might start if Saliba's injured. So now I want to see you trust these players more. But hence why we're going for first team targets as well. Like if we sign, let's say centre back Ezri Konsa, he can play in the first team. There'll be games where he don't have to start William Saliba. And I want to look at the other leagues now, like, let's say PSG in Ligue 1, and how they rest Dembele. I know he was injured for the first part of last year, but they rest Dembele and then they get him going towards the end of the season. I want to see Arsenal prioritize their stars almost as new signings that can come into the more important part of the season. And if you look at how Man City run last year's title race, let's be real, after they beat us, they should have won the title.
Yeah,
and if they don't draw against Everton,
it was scary, man.
Exactly.
I remember when they beat
if they don't draw against,
it's going away.
If they don't draw against Everton, they win that title. That draw saved us because Man City kind of bottled it themselves there. But they timed their season. In the first half, they were decent, just in the in the race of it. And when the real part of the season came alive, past that Carabao Cup final, they timed it to perfection. And I think that's the way we can do it this season. We don't need to start off insanely good. You actually want to kind of grow into the season, and that's where it helps when you're in the Champions League and in the Carabao Cup final again, potentially with the FA Cup. Your players are fully sharp and ready. So our squad is definitely capable of doing so. And ultimately, even as fans, there will be parts of this year we're going to go, we could have signed that player, and it's not looking the same as last year. Don't judge the feeling until we get over the line or the season's over. Because last year there was enough times I was thinking to myself, does this feel like a title-winning season though? Like, would the team that's winning a title make me feel like this? Surely it's meant to be rosy and not. And then after we won the title, no one cared. No one cared how we did it, how many points that we had, what teams that we lost to, what teams that we beat. We won the title, and we were celebrating outside the Emirates. That's it. When you see Arsenal with a C next to their name, and that's about it.
Yeah, I think you're spitting facts. I wanted to ask you as well, because one thing I have thought in that on the best of days, whether it's Arsenal or the other big teams in England, there's that pressure in it just from playing for Arsenal, full stop, whether we're, as you alluded to, when we was in the trenches or when we've been fighting for a title and we've fallen short. Obviously, under Mikel Arteta, we finished second 3 times. So we're so close, but so far. And all the immediate talking points you could talk about this current modern day Arsenal. But I also feel when you talk about them talking points, you also got to throw another talking point in that. Obviously, you had the 22 years of not winning the Premier League. So that was like an added kind of spice into the pot, if that makes sense. With that kind of weight lifted off the shoulders, what do you think that means for our club? Because there are some fans, that think, sometimes our players are played in pressurized environments because of anxiety, because of the question I asked you. Some people saying, Mikel Arteta, maybe he puts the handbrake down, quote unquote, and we play more attacking football. Last year was a needs must. Like, what do you think of the mental lift? And what do you think winning that first title could do for us going into this year?
I'm more fascinated by what it does to the fans. Because I remember there was a quote from a Bournemouth player after they beat us last season, and he was talking about how you could feel the anxiety of the fans, and the players could feel it as well. So I'm more fascinated to see how the fans are this season, because there will be tough moments. Every season has tough moments. You're not going to win every single game. You're going to drop points in games that you shouldn't drop points, and it happens to every single team. So I am fascinated to see how, as a fan base, we look at these players now, knowing they've got themselves over the line before, right? And that's what I'm more looking forward towards. But then in terms of the players themselves, there will be less pressure on their shoulders. So in those games, when it comes to those title running moments, if we haven't blown another team out of the water, which we definitely can do, then you start to wonder, okay, cool, these players know what they're doing. They know how to win these games. They know that if you lose a game, even against your title rivals, we did not beat City a single time last season. We still beat City to a title, right? Just like how Liverpool used to beat City year and year at Anfield, and City would still win the league title.
It's a marathon, right? Not a sprint.
Exactly. So that's the key thing for me, is just wondering to see how the players are with the lack of pressure. And look, Champions League is a priority for me. I want a league title, and I feel like
talk to me about the champs then, man.
But the champs is what I want, because I remember going to, as I said, the Emirates last season, and kind of coming home after and seeing, I think I saw a United fan with a United shirt on, and I saw a Liverpool fan and a Chelsea fan. I'm thinking to myself, what did you guys win to wear your shirt so proudly today? That's what I said to. I was like, wait, what? Like, cool. When I won the title, I was wearing my shirt loudly and proudly. I was going to Westfields and I'm seeing Arsenal shirts everywhere. We won something. That's why we're embracing it. What did you guys win? But obviously they were saying Champions Europe. Never sing that. So I wanted to sing Champions of Europe. I'm not expecting a Champions League, but I'm hoping for one. And I feel like the signings that we could be making this summer, if you go back to that final last year against PSG and you throw Rodgers in, or you throw Guimaraes in, or you throw in an Alvarez, do Arsenal do better?
With some individual brilliance.
The answer is yes. And that's why even Rodgers yesterday, when he got the assist, I was like, okay, that's why you paid the money. Because he wasn't outstanding, he wasn't world class, but he provided a moment in the game. If let's say he replaces Martin Odegaard as a number 10, does Odegaard provide that assist? that one final ball, killer pass to find Gordon. I don't think
Odegaard
so.
of old, yeah, probably not of the modern day.
I don't think Odegaard's ever been that final pass player, like that consistent, like guarantee pass. That's a pass that I expect De Bruyne to make or Fernandes to make. Odegaard's different. Odegaard's, do you know, we need to stop comparing Odegaard to Fernandes or De Bruyne. I think he is more of like a Vitinha. He's a tempo setter.
He's more of a Bernardo Silva. That's my
right. Yeah, Bernardo Silva, Vitinha.
He should be played everywhere, bro.
And that's, do you know what I was also thinking about? A lot of Arsenal fans looked at that Norway game and against England and against Brazil and they said, look, Odegaard just shows his levels then. I think he's a world-class midfielder. I also think, though, in that Norway team, he's made to look better because they don't have what we have in the build-up phase. So for Norway, he has to go deep.
He does the same role for Norway as he does for Arsenal. He conducts the press and all of that kind of
stuff.
For
Arsenal, we don't need that as much because we've got enough players around Odegaard to do the job for us. We don't have to have our player dropping, our number 10 on paper, dropping deeper. Our number 10 can stay high up the field and he can be the, getting the goals and get the assist. Whereas for Norway, they don't have that build-up player like a Calafiori, or they don't have a Miles Lewis-Skelly, they don't have a Zubimendi, they don't have a Saliba or Gabriel. So Odegaard has to drop deeper. Exactly. So this is where I'm fascinated to see if we do get Rodgers where he plays. He'll probably start on the left-hand side, but isn't that the role that Eze was brought in to do? Eze was meant to be the left winger / number 10. So is that, do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of questions I have, but first things first, let's get them in an Arsenal shirt first. Rodgers is not an Arsenal player just yet. And now I feel like the World Cup's over. I'm sick and tired of hearing about and reporting this as well. The whole, Arsenal are going to ramp up their interest and the bid's coming soon and the personal terms are agreed. Okay, let's see if this deal gets done.
I think you're bang on the money, and we do take long to get transfers or the protracted transfers, the household names in it. Gyökeres took a minute, Eze took a minute, Rice took a minute. So I know Arsenal fans don't want to hear it. Stay patient. I've got a question, in which I do think there's some fair criticisms with Arteta because I was saying last season, I'm gassed about Eze, like what Gyökeres could be, but as much as the players have to do it for themselves, I think Arteta has to platform them. It's one thing buying trainers and designer clothes, Bhavs. It's like me and you could buy the clothes, the same outfit, yeah? Girls could say, you look nice in it. They could say, I look shit because you've buttoned it up properly. You've done what you've needed to do. I'm not styling it properly. And that's what I mean about attackers. So I asked this question, and again, it's a bit harsh because I have seen Saka, Martinelli, Martin Odegaard. At the end of the day, Gyökeres got 21 goals, 14 in the league. I have seen players have their standout season. Smith Rowe way back then, under Mikel Arteta, Dalman doing his thing. But I've never quite got the feeling that players are platformed right. So it's like, even if we sign Rodgers and this one and that one, is there a question for Arteta having to platform them to go out there and do their thing? I know they have to track back and defend. You mentioned PSG, they're the best example because they're front three, all the talent in the world, score goals, do all of that stuff. They still have to go backwards. It's like, is signing them just one part? Is there something Arteta needs to do to platform these players? Because even with Saka, people are saying, he's spending too much time in his own half, receiving off the halfway line, yada, yada, yada.
I don't think we're going to see a massive change in terms of that Saka element, personally. I think that is Arteta's style of play. And to be fair, if you look at PSG, I know they don't have to play as intense games in League O, but in the Champions League, that's why Kvara or Dembele or Doué, they all track back, they run like dogs, right? That's not going to change. But the difference I see now, or I want to see, is the personality in the build-up phase. Because last year, there's so many games I'm watching going, we cannot pass out of the back. We cannot pass out of the back. No one's collecting the ball. And until Rice moved into the 6 and Zubimendi came out of the team and Lewis-Skelly came in, that we had something going there. But there was too many games up until that Fulham game. Exactly. We didn't have... And this is why I like the targets that we've looked at in midfield. Buadi, Scott, Guima Rice. They all play with personality. They're a player that, they demand the ball in tough moments, especially as someone like Bruno Guima Rice. So I think that's what Arteta has looked to profile-wise. I want personality players. You need to know what the players you're signing. Sometimes you sign a player, you don't know what he is. If we sign a Guima Rice, we know exactly what he is, where he excels, what he's good at, and what he brings to the team. And likewise, Morgan Rodgers. So that's why I think Arteta needs to add some personality into the team by trusting players like Miles Lewis-Skelly and seeing him play as a 6 last year or as on a double pivot. That was a surprise. No one expected that to happen. And I feel like that's the change I want to see Arteta go towards, is trust your more personality-based players. Because, bro, that game against City, where obviously we had all the chances and Havertz should have scored, I looked at our midfield compared to theirs. And Zubimendi's good, and Rice is really good, but they didn't have the on-the-ball personality, and that's why I really want that. Exactly, I want that Bruno profile. I want that Guima Rice profile. I want someone who goes, you know what, in that game, give me the ball. Raya, give me the ball. I'll make it happen. I don't want players that get phased out of games, and that's the concern. How it's Zubimendi, because I don't think it's a concern of quality of player. I think he's got the quality. It's more the mindset.
Psychologically, I think it's taking a hit, man.
Can you in that Man City game demand the ball? Can the game become a Martin Zubimendi game? I can see Rice do it, even off the ball. I can see Bruno Guima Rice, we saw Rodri do it, and Bernardo Silva. Even Odegaard can do it.
Skelly as well.
Exactly, Lewis Kelly. I want personality. That's the difference for what I want from Arteta this year. But I also feel like we will see a double down as well. He is going to be as strong defensively. I don't expect us to come out this year be ultra attacking because I feel like Arteta likes the certainty. He's not
And we're
an
actually
uncertain
good
manager.
defensively, so why change
Exactly.
it?
You
Like,
don't
I want
change
us to
what's
double down
working.
on that.
We
But
don't
if
get to a
anything,
Champions League
with
final
that,
because of that.
let's let the players play, bro.
Yeah, so it's more about balancing it out. But Arteta is, as I said, he likes certainty. He needs to know what's happening in the game. He does not like the uncertainty. And when
Control
you have
freak.
players that
That's
are,
which all these managers are now.
that's what it is, and that's because, and I saw the video of a day of Big. I talked about my socials actually, but Big Sam, talking about how managers are coaching players too much now, and if you don't play their way, you're out of the team. There's a reason behind that.
That's the modern day.
That's how the game is going. Why do you think Real Madrid keep sacking their personality managers to get Alonso? It doesn't work out, but they keep trying to do that because they realize the game's going that way. Because look at PSG as an example. PSG are the best example of they are coached fantastically with the balance of personality.
And that's the ambition. Like, obviously, I'm not saying we're going to be PSG, but I always believe in looking at people who have done what you want to do. So naturally, and I do think, for what it's worth, I've been saying for years, Luis Enrique and Arteta, you're very different, but you're very similar in terms of certain intangibles. I always say PSG are Arsenal on steroids in that they have that. Well, for Arsenal fans, anyways, they have that attacking quality. They all defend. Their defenders fly forward. You see both of their fullbacks inverted. Sometimes you can see both of their effing fullbacks on the same side. For me, I want us to keep defending well. I don't. Why would you stop something that's good at that we're good at? People only pissed off because we're good. What I would want to see is we've got a good defensive ethos, the way we press, the way we stand, like you said earlier, the way Mikel Arteta positions people. If you're lucky enough to beat our press and beat Declan Rice in the middle of the park, if everyone's fit, you got some monster defenders. With that, I want us to gamble a bit. Like, we might lose a couple percentages in defense, but we might go and nick a goal, etc., etc. I don't think Arteta is going to change radically. I want and I expect us to platform these attacking players, but rightly so. I think he's going to go, why would I stop? He might even be thinking to himself, I done this great defensive work and no one could stop me. There might be a bit of confirmation bias there. I do think coaching is as important as obviously signing players. And I said it earlier, in it, like, I think it's fair to say, me and you are two fans that, if we get, God forbid, but if we get to the end of the transfer window and we don't sign, then that's where the crash outs are. Right now, we're kind of chilling. But I am getting to that stage now where I do think there's a pressing need to get these players in, purely because you've got pre-season in it. Get them in for pre-season, get up to speed with your teammates and all that jazz, and everything's kind of popping. I did want to ask you a question, as we kind of move on to the transfers, Obviously, William Saliba's got injured, innit? Like, William Saliba's got injured. Does centre-half become a priority now?
It has to. And I trust Mascara as well. I like Ben White playing at centre-back. Timber's played there as well, but I need a surety. And that's why I think Arsenal are targeting a centre-back. I don't think it's as pressing need as an attacker after Trossard's departure. I feel like, because we know Saliba is coming back at one point, is can you survive? And with Arteta and defences, I can trust
5 months though, Bhavs.
It's a big injury. It's actually a lot worse than some people thought it was initially, because back injuries are not easy to come back from. Ask any United fan about Matthijs de Ligt, and they'll ask you, like, they'll tell you where is he right now? He's missed like over 200 days for a back injury. But I feel like the attack is a bigger concern or a bigger priority for me, mainly because I know Arteta can coach a defense. I saw Arteta keep clean sheets with Rob Holding at centre back. He needs the quality going forwards. That's the thing I'm looking at the most.
And that's where we need to improve, man. Like, I can't lie, Bravs, I've changed a bit. Like, for me, my immediate priority would have been, a left winger, would have been a centre mid. I would love a striker, whether it's Krupi, whether it's Alvarez, whatever. But I'm kind of mentally prepared to wait for a striker next year, if that makes sense. But if you could do it, great. I do think we need defensive reinforcements. My first profile would have been a Timber, Tomiyasu, Swiss Army knife that can play across the back four. I am now shifting with Saliba, and big up Mascara and our defensive depth. But with Saliba's injury and what we're seeing the reports, and nothing's been confirmed, I'm now drifting towards, can you get me a centre-half that can play right back? Can you get me a centre-half that maybe even genuinely is fighting Saliba, Gabriel? Like, these three got to look at each other in training and go, oh, you know what? Someone's got to miss out. I am looking towards centre-half now. What I would say is, in the same way last summer we was linked with Gurhey and Howson and guys that will cost a lot of money, we pivoted away, or whether it was Berto, whether it was Mikel Arteta, whether it was someone, a wider part of the coaching or analysis team, someone said, oh, what about Mascara for 13 million quid? I know you can't always do that, but with that logic, come scouts do their jobs, maybe save us a bit of quid. So when it does go for we're not going to get them all, but the Brunos, the Bruno Gomares, the Morgan Rogers, the Bacolas, these big ticket, Alex Scott, these big ticket items will have more money to kind of play with, because I do think this is an important summer. Like, I don't agree with fans crashing out, but I understand it. Illogically, you're seeing other teams do things. They finally won the league. Everybody's loving Josh Kroenke, Arteta, and Berto were united. you're being linked with names, you're getting a bit of anxiety. So I do understand that, but I do think we've got a real chance to really seize the moment. I think at Arsenal, we've done a lot of talking about the past, and you got to talk about the past. There's a lot of talking about the future, and naturally, you got to keep an eye on that. But I've never quite felt that we've seized the present. And this year or next year, this time next year, I want to be on the stream with you saying we've done something we've never seen in our lifetime, which is not only winning the Prem, but retaining it. Because unfortunately, when I look at our club's history, when we have periods of success, we don't build on it. Like, we'll win a Premier League, we're kind of gone away. We win the Premier League, we're kind of gone away. Fair enough, it's been 20 odd years, but we've won the Premier League. Can we do that now? Because if I'm really harsh, you lot have made history. It's the first Premier League of the Emirates era, first post-Wenger. But if I'm being really harsh from a place of love, as a 31-year-old man, you man ain't done nothing I ain't seen. You know, we ain't won the League Cup. I've never seen that. The last time we won it was a year before. I've seen us get to a Champions League and lose. I've seen us win a Premier League. So now that you've got that monkey off your back and you can see it's attainable now, put some, like I think you said it earlier, show some personality, not just with the new players, but everybody, not in an arrogant way, but start letting your nuts hang. We're not imposters no more, innit? Like, we're actually here now. We've gone from being a competitive, decent team to winners. We're Premier League champions. I know people always want to water it down and our set piece is boring, etc. These same twats would buoy us if we never got over the line, which is why I always tell people, stop seeking outside validation. They just want to kind of rattle you. So that's William Saliba, yeah? We've been linked with plenty of centre-halves, but we saying for